Just kidding.
Okay, you're good.
Okay, hey guys, thanks for joining us again tonight. We're super excited to have this webinar for you guys, new in the queue. We're excited for all you girls that are waiting patiently. I know it's really tough, and we just wanted to give you this chance to have advice and encouragement from leaders on our team. So tonight I'm super excited. My sister Julie Cash is going to start. I'll let her tell you her story, but I'm super excited about that. And then Nicole Schlitt is going to also talk after Julie. So Julie, your turn.
All right. I love seeing all these states on the right-hand side. It's so fun. Roll call, girls, North Carolina. I'm North Carolina, so I'm in Raleigh, and I just want to say hey to everybody. I see Virginia and who else? Oh, Florida, so California. Woo! But I am Julie Cash, and I am thrilled to see you all tonight, although I can't see you. That's the best part. But I just wanted to share a little bit about my journey with LuLaRoe with you. I started a little over a year and a half ago. Susan, who you all have met, is actually my big sister of 2 years, although people are not quite sure who's older now. I think she's digressing and I'm getting more wrinkles by the day. So Susan is my sister, and a little background, she and I live in the same neighborhood about a mile apart. So when we hear about saturation, we both kind of laugh because the business has been successful for both of us. So whether your best friend is doing it, your sister, your mom, your aunt, whomever, I feel like there's an opportunity for everybody. So let me just start off with that. But when you get started with LuLaRoe, either your sponsor or whomever, if you go to a local training, they're going to have you really dig deep about your why. Your why is just really what brought you to LuLaRoe and why you're here. And so I just wanted to share a little bit with you tonight about my why. One thing is your why when you start with LuLaRoe can certainly change. Sometimes I feel like it can change by the day. Sometimes it's by the month. Sometimes it's by the year. So for me, to be 100% honest, it was finances. I've been married now almost 12 years, and we have 2 adorable, crazy children. They are almost 4 and almost 6 years old, but we had a lot of trouble getting pregnant. So because of that, we started a lot of debt a couple years ago, and I thought this was just debt that we were going to be paying off really for the rest of our lives, and we would never pay for college or pay off our house or anything like that. So when this opportunity came about and I saw the opportunity financially with LuLaRoe, I was thrilled, and my husband really was actually the one that encouraged me. It was not something I wanted to do, and my sister, she encouraged me greatly, but we had them come over to our house with like a computer with spreadsheets, this and that, and we really needed to see the finances laid out, and that is kind of how I got started. And looking back, I don't feel like finances was really what drew me to LuLaRoe, but I want to say that that is what kind of pulled me in. That was kind of the deciding factor for me. But honestly, I wanted the opportunity to stay at home with my kids. I wanted the freedom to travel when we want to travel. I wanted the freedom to play in the afternoons when it's 80 degrees on a March day. And I just want the freedom to be able to provide for them. One of my big whys also is fun. Traveling is something that my sister and I got to do growing up, thankfully, just due to a frequent flyer because our dad traveled. And so that was another big thing is my children had never even been on an airplane because it's so expensive. And I wanted to be able to provide that for them. So it all kind of comes down to 3 things for me. It was family, fun, and finances. But I'll tell you that through all that, I have found myself in the last year and a half, and I have found some self-confidence that I knew I was lacking. I have found camaraderie and a team environment that I was completely lacking just being a stay-at-home mom. And like today, I went and had coffee with one of my dearest friends and a trainer on my team for 2 hours, and it was just such a blessing to be able to have that time where I wasn't stuck in a corporate desk job, and I also wasn't at home cleaning diapers for a couple of hours. So it's just been a great outlet for me. But again, just when we go to leadership training, they just pour into you as a woman, and there are men in the business, but as a woman and as a mom, and have really just esteemed us as women, not to overinflate our egos or anything like that, but just to help you kind of find your place in this world. And I'm just so overjoyed by that. And so that's just a little bit of my why. It's going to change next week. It's going to change next month. And I think yours will too. But the one thing I would encourage you to do is to really dig deep. Like, think about, why am I doing this? And a lot of us can say, like, oh, it's just finances. Oh, it's just, I want to get out one night a week. And that's great. But I think when you really dig deep, you're going to find some different whys deep down. And I think it's great. And then I think it's really beneficial to share that with other women. It can be your upline sponsor. It can be a random stranger. It can be your mom. It can be whomever. But the more comfortable you get sharing that why, I think others are going to fall in love with you in this business. So that's just something to keep in mind. It's not something I always share. I always just said, oh, I just needed the money. But I'm much more open now. But I would say, and looking back, the self-confidence and the drive and realizing that I am a hard worker. I'm not just a mom, which is something I absolutely love. So really dig deep, and I'd really recommend that you write down your why. I'm just going to share a little bit about my experience with LuLaRoe. I've been in the business a little bit over a year and a half. And when I started, I mean, there were a handful of people in North Carolina. Susan was one of the very first in this area, and she was honestly swamped with trying to book pop-ups. I, on the other hand, would get an invite to an at-home party, and I would immediately hit delete, 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 because I just don't do in-home parties, and it just wasn't for me. And so I said, well, I'll host a party for you, just because I'm a nice sister like that. And I hosted a party, and at the end of the night, she's like, well, you got 7 items for free. And I was like, I did what? And first off, I was like floored that I didn't have to pay anything. I've actually hosted a show in the past where at the end of the night, the hostess said, well, you get 1 item at half off, but I still spent like $300. So I was a little bit annoyed about that. And the other thing I saw was that how fun it was, that women were coming out, and it was kind of like going to the mall together, which nobody at our age does anymore. And I just saw what a unique experience it was to bring women together. Also to help women that wanted free items, and then just a great experience for you. I think it's so rewarding to see women get fit in these clothes. So shortly after that is when I decided to join. But I'll just say, a lot of people are like, how did you get from point A to point B? And one thing I did was the 72-hour game plan. I know that Susan talked about that last week. The 72-hour game plan, I'll just like really briefly review it, is first off, treating your business like a business. So I actually have set business hours. And so I usually, as soon as I drop the kids off at school, I work from 9 to 12. I work again from 1 to 3:30, and then I actually don't work. I try not to work from 3 to 7 at night, and I'll work after that. So that's going to be one of my biggest takeaways for you all, is that I want you to make this for you and your family what you want it to be for you and your family. Susan and I, and really any of these sponsors that are in this queue here, don't want any pressure on you, and we want it just to be for you exactly what you want. So don't feel like you've got to go do 15 parties a week. If you want to, go do it. I mean, I was hauling doing 3 to 4 to 5 parties a week, and that was a ton for me. So these women that do 10 to 15, I'm just amazed by, and a lot of them work full time. The next thing was just to list 50 names. And one thing that I absolutely love about this list is that doesn't mean you're going to go call that list overnight. These are people that you can just slowly work on, that when you're at the ball field on Saturday, you know, if you're going to obviously wear LuLaRoe head to toe, that you can just say like, oh, this is LuLaRoe. I actually sell it at parties, blah, blah, blah. I sell online, whatever you want it to be. But those 50 names, it was a little bit freeing to know. I'm not going to go call them all tonight, but just get 50 names down and just kind of have that in the back of your head, because I feel like when conversations come up with some of those ladies, it's going to kind of trigger something, and you're going to mention LuLaRoe, and it makes it eases it a little bit more. And the other thing would be to book 3 pop-ups. This is one thing that while you all are in the queue, you have got ample time to do. Susan did it where we both did a launch party at your house. And then we had 2 other pop-ups booked before we really even got our inventory. Now, don't do it until you get your inventory or you've ordered and you know when it's coming. But this was a snowball effect for my business, was to have a big launch party. And by big, it can be 2 people, it can be 50 people. I don't really care. But just getting the word out to your friends, any and everybody that you think might be interested. I had random girls from high school that I haven't seen in a million years that came, and I had moms come, like moms of people from high school, and I also have friends and girls on my team that have 2 people. So your launch party is not going to make or break the success of your business, but just keep in mind introducing this to everybody you know, and then trying to set up 2 pop-ups, and then from there it was just really kind of a snowball effect, but you should start off on a good foot if possible. Another thing that helped, I feel like, with the success of my business was trusting my sponsor. Thankfully, I had, 35 years of history with mine, and some of you may have just met her last week, and that's okay, but I think that trusting your sponsor and knowing that they have come from point A to point B, no matter what that is, I don't care if they onboarded last week, they trust this business and they trust their sponsor, and so trusting them when they tell you, if there's a hiccup, and if your sponsor didn't tell you there's going to be a hiccup, then maybe you and I should talk after this. But overall, they truly, this company makes everything right at some point, but I think there's going to be a moment of frustration, and that's in any business, to be honest with you. And so trusting your sponsor is one of the biggest steps to knowing they're not leading you down this rabbit trail when it comes to problems. One other thing I would mention is that I really let things happen organically. And the only reason I bring this up is because this week, probably 3 or 4 different instances, I've had people message me via Facebook with direct sales businesses that were, it was like painful. Like, I really wanted to respond to them and be like, do you know what LuLaRoe is? Because it was like, I'm trying to feed my children to do this. Will you buy this and this? And it truly was painful to see them having to to seek after these women, where I feel like I literally open my door and women are flocking in to grab a pair of leggings. So I would say just be ready and present with your why and let things happen organically. And I feel like that those are the women that are going to attract you the most, and you're going to attract them the most, instead of just being like a shark in the water, kind of attracting women, if building a team is something. So just to kind of wrap it up for what helped with my success, one thing, and if there's any of my girls on this, they are going to laugh, but I don't miss anything. You can call it fear of missing out, or you can call it type A, which I am, but I don't miss anything, whether it comes to a local training, a webinar, a seminar, and I'm never late to it, which is a whole different story. But if there's a local training to you, I would get there. If you can get a convention, get there. If you can get on a webinar on Tuesdays, or I know that Deanne, the owner of the company, is going to be starting a call very soon with women just in the queue, and I think that call is going to be so very helpful for all of you. So just try to be present as much as you can when they offer these trainings, and a lot of times you're going to hear the same thing over and over and over, and I'm telling you, y'all, I have heard the 72-hour game plan for a year and a half, and I still have to go look at my notes today to figure out what the steps were. So sometimes it's just going to take repeating things over and over, but trying to get to any trainings. The second thing, which I've already touched on, is trusting your sponsor and the company. These people have a heart of gold, and I'm fortunate to know them individually, and they are just amazing human beings that truly have a love for us. They have a love to see women make this business whatever they want, and if that means you leave corporate America, that's great. If it means you get out of the house one night a month, that is great. They truly just want us to be able to provide for our families how we want to, and it's such a blessing to have the opportunity where I truly don't feel pressure from them or my sponsor. And then my last thing I would recommend is just the comparison trap, which we talked about a little bit last week, but making this business for you and your family what you want it to be, because when it's not fun, it's not fun, and it wasn't fun the day before. So, if you're burnout and overwhelmed, like, step back, put your phone, everybody knows I love airplane mode. If I am overwhelmed for the day, I put my phone on airplane mode, and I will go outside and play with the family or do whatever I need to unwind. So I want this to be a fun experience for friends and family and anybody in this business. And I think that that's when you're going to find the true joy in it, and that's when you're going to really dig deeper for your why. So that is what I have to share tonight, and we are honored to have Nicole Schlitt here, and she is actually in my downline. I'm so honored, and she's also in Susan's downline. because Susan is our grandmother, but she just started and had this passion, and we somewhat have similar personalities, but Nicole's been on things that she actually does everything online. She was working full-time, and I'll let her share a little bit more about that, and built a team very successfully and is able to lead. But I just wanted to share a little bit about her experience, and I think it'll be fun to hear from somebody that has in the past mainly done in-home pop-ups, and now Nicole is going to share a little bit about her experience and her why and her online. So it's all you, Nicole.
Hi. Are we good?
You're good.
All right, so I live in Myrtle Beach, and I teach high school English in an at-risk program. So I teach 9th grade all day, all year, to kids who, for whatever reason, have ended up in an at-risk program. They have, they're overage, or they've had behavior issues, or some sort of thing like that. So my job during the day is very needy. I also have 2 kids, a 10-year-old and a 2-year-old. I'm finishing my 2nd master's. I'm starting my last class on Monday, and we are buying a house. So my entire house is like in disarray right now. It's packed, and I'm literally sitting on my bedroom floor because it's like the only place that is not covered in boxes right now. But yeah, so my life is insane. But I'm a teacher. My husband's a teacher, and we all know that teachers aren't rolling in the big bucks. So we, having to pay daycare and everything else, I kind of just always thought that we would, be able to pay our bills but never have much left over. And in October, I kept kind of hearing the name LuLaRoe come up online, and I was like a notorious online shopper. My husband coaches baseball, and with my 2-year-old son, who's like the most stubborn kid ever, I would never, ever, ever try to go try on clothes in a store, ever. Like I barely, I try to avoid taking him to the grocery store if at all possible. So I kept hearing LuLaRoe, and then I realized that I couldn't buy it online because I'm like the Amazon queen. So I was like, okay, so I just kind of let it slide. And then about a week later, coincidentally, a girl I went to high school with said, hey, I'm having a LuLaRoe party on Facebook. Does anybody want to go? And I was like, oh, me, yeah, me. So Courtney was actually the consultant for that party. And I started looking into it, and I joined one of her other parties that was happening a little bit before, and I started looking at the stuff, and then I saw the parties, and I was like, oh my gosh, people are flocking for this stuff. They are fighting over it. What is all of this? So I started looking into it, and then I got online and I researched it because I knew here in Myrtle Beach that I hadn't really heard it. I'd only heard it online. So I started thinking, I was like, maybe I should look into seeing, if this was something I want to do. So I got online and did that, and I contacted Courtney, and I kind of, found out, and I almost had a heart attack in the beginning. When I found out, I was like, oh God, it's so expensive. But then I realized, she talked to me and she was like, okay, this is, why it is. And so it made more sense. I was like, okay, it's not like every other direct marketing company because it there's more investment, but you're building a business from the very beginning. So I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I know that I have to put everything into it. My husband just kept telling me, that's fine, but as long as you make everything back, you just have to make the money back. Because I'd done other direct marketing things in the past, and obviously they didn't pan out because I'm not rich. So I was like, okay, I wanted to try it. I knew sometimes you just get a gut feeling about something, and I just knew that there was something to this. I liked what I'd seen, and loved the culture of LuLaRoe. So I had to wait about a week because we actually didn't have the money to get through it. Like, we actually had to pull from our next paycheck to be able to afford the investment. Like, when I say we didn't have a ton of extra money, we did not have it. But so I actually onboarded on November 2nd, and I think it was November 4th that I was in Raleigh at training. I actually played sick from school. Don't tell anybody. So anyway, so I drove up to Raleigh because that's where my family's from, so I could see, visit my parents and go to training. And I got there and I was blown away. I didn't know anybody. I'd never met my sponsor. I met her that day, and everybody was super nice and super inviting. But I was blown away by the culture and the environment at that training. I thought, wow, this is something I've never seen. This is something completely different. But there again, I just got in hoping to make some extra money. I told my husband in the beginning, I was like, even if I can make a couple extra $100, like, that'll pay for 2 weeks of daycare. That's huge for us. And so he was like, yeah. And so I got my inventory in, and I took it to school, and a few teachers looked at it and bought some stuff, and I launched online. And I said, because I knew that online for me was going to work better with having my kids and being in school all day and grad classes and everything else. I knew I just wouldn't have time to go back and forth. So I launched online, and was completely surprised when I did $1,200 my first weekend. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. That's a lot of money to me. So I was like, okay, maybe there's something to this. And, you know, I started asking people, hey, do you want to host a party online? And immediately people were drawn to the idea because they didn't have to clean their house and they didn't have to feed anybody and they didn't have to worry about people dropping in. And for me, I was kind of like Julie, like I don't do in-home parties. Like I never would go to like somebody's house for makeup or anything else because like I'm a teacher and I consider myself pretty outgoing, but to me that's kind of intrusive and it kind of weirded me out a little. So, you know, the idea of doing online where I could be in my element but not have to like be in somebody else's house was really appealing to me. So I asked people if they wanted to do it. I of course like pegged my sister and my mom from the beginning. I was like, please host a party for me, please, you know. And of course they did. And you know, after that it just kind of ballooned. I said, hey, you know, who wants to host a party? You know, you can earn free clothes and you don't have to do any of this stuff and you just invite your friends. And I sent them a little hostess overview and it really just took off. And so in December, one of my customers was a girl from Alaska, and on my checkout form, she checked that she was interested in the business. I was like, okay, I had no idea that I wanted to build a team, but I'll give this a shot. And I called her, and she was like, yeah, I think I want to do it. And she signed up, and I was like, okay, my first consultant lives in Alaska. Can't get further away from me than that, but sure, okay. And now she's like one of my best friends. But I think that's what's so cool about LuLaRoe is you can do this the way you want to do it. You can say I can only do online, like I did. I can only do online right now. Now, granted, I'm very fortunate. My business really took off, and about 3 weeks ago, I've turned in my letter of resignation because I'm not teaching next year. I knew from that early on that I wasn't going back to school. I'm finishing out my contract. I feel like I owe my students that, but I'm not doing it because I have to, and it takes a huge amount of pressure off of you, and it's such a huge relief whenever you can go to your job and know that you don't have to be there anymore. That, you know, you make a choice to be there, and it's not you have to be there to pay your bills. And LuLaRoe has provided a huge luxury for me with that I can do it because I want to do it. But in the same token, my kids, my own kids, because I call my students my kids too, my own kids are only going to be this small for a short amount of time. And my son started daycare in September, and he cries every single day that I drop him off. Like, I don't mean like he's upset. Like, I mean they peel him off of me. He chases me to the door. Like, it is heartbreaking every day. So I knew that I didn't want to have to do that to him forever if I didn't have to. And so LuLaRoe really offered me that opportunity to be able to say, okay, I don't have to do this anymore. So now, come June, I'll be able to run my very successful business and stay home with my kids. You know, I can work a few hours a day, set business hours, and not have to worry about being, you know, going to a certain place and spending a certain amount of time, or telling my daughter, no, I can't go to have lunch with you today because I have to be at school too. So it's nice. One of the things about online is you do have to be organized. It's not one of those things where you just take your inventory and people buy it. I'm very type A. I'm super, super OCD. Like my house being in shambles right now is driving me crazy. It's one of those things where you do have to be organized. But this is where the queue is going to benefit you a ton, because you have the opportunity to get everything you need set up from the get-go. I didn't have that luxury. I placed my order, and my inventory was there like a week and a half later, and it was fly by the seat of your pants, figure it out as you go. I mean, I had a great sponsor, and she was really good about giving me information, but I kind of still felt like sink or swim, right? Oh my gosh, this is happening, and I've just got to go with it. You guys have the luxury of like getting your spreadsheet set up, getting all your shipping supplies ready, you know, choosing if you want to use a shipping site or if you want to go through the postal service, how you want to do all of that. And your sponsors will help you with that. All of our team pages are good about having those resources as well. But your sponsor's there to help guide you through that. Don't get overwhelmed by it, but use this time to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row. You want to make sure that you don't look at this as, oh no, I have to wait, I'm not going to be able to do this. This time is to your advantage because it gives you the opportunity to make sure that you get everything ready. You have everything organized and everything set up. You can get all your racks ordered, your mannequin. I will say for online, it helps tremendously to get a photography light. They don't have to be super expensive. The one I ordered from Amazon I think was like less than $40. But it helps a lot to cut down on people wondering what color things are. I will say, you have to run your business like a business. no matter what. You cannot expect to go in and become a millionaire overnight. It's not going to happen. Like, this business is very profitable. I'm not going to lie. It has changed my life just since November. I mean, I can't even, there are not even enough words to express to you how much this has done for me and how much I know it's going to continue to do for me. But you have to put in the work. It's not hard. It's not hard by any stretch of the imagination. It's fun. Like, it's, I've told some of my girls that I didn't realize how much I was missing out until I started doing this. Because you get in a routine of being mom and being a wife and being everything to everybody else, especially like with me being a teacher in a particularly needy program. I was that person for everybody. And I didn't realize that I didn't have anything for myself until I started this, and it was so fun. Because it is. It's like getting all your friends together, and even online. It's like getting a huge group of women together, because when you're shopping online with these women, they will come back and they'll post pictures and they'll say, oh, I love this, I love the way this fits on me, or I've never felt better in an outfit. And it makes you feel good, because a lot of times, you know, we as women have body issues that we just don't love about ourselves, and finding something that you love that's affordable is transformative. You know, it makes the biggest difference in your life. So being able to share that with other women is huge, and it's so fun to do. But in the same token, you have to make sure that you're there. You have to be there for your customers. You have to be able to answer questions. And being there and being present makes all the difference, because customer service, even if it's online, will make or break your business. You have to make sure that no matter what, you provide excellent customer service, because that's what makes our company different than all the other ones they can shop from. Mm-hmm. We're not big box marketing. We offer customer service that they're not getting anywhere else, and that's what we want to continue to provide for them. If a package gets lost, replace it for them. You know, do whatever, even if you think they got it, go above and beyond, because that's what will keep them coming back to you. So, like I said, you know, there's tons of resources available. Your sponsor, I'm sure all of your teammates as well, will go out of their way to give you everything you need. Reach out. We are not afraid to help you. Don't feel like you're bothering your sponsor. I've had a lot of girls say, I'm sorry, I'm bugging you. No, you're not bugging me. That's my job. Like, I want to be here for you, because we genuinely want to see you be successful. It brings such a great amount of joy to see my girls go, oh, this was the biggest pop-up I've ever had, or I'm only $500 from paying off my initial investment. That's huge, and that means so much to me, because I know that I'm getting to share this awesome business opportunity with people that it will help change their lives too. So make sure you reach out. We can't help you if you don't ask. If you don't, I mean, we you know, we're great women, but we don't read minds. We need to be able to know what you need. But the Suburban page has a lot of great resources and files available, so make sure you check there. Reach out to your sponsor. We genuinely want to see you succeed. Use this time to help you get ready and make sure everything's lined up. So I appreciate you guys listening to me talk tonight. I hope any of that was helpful. Feel free to friend request me on Facebook. I don't mind helping you out as much as you want. I think Susan is going to give you guys a few minutes. She's going to talk about the next week's webinar, and I appreciate you guys and hope you guys have a great night. Bye.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Julie. That was awesome. I love it that Julie talked to y'all about our why, and mine has changed a lot since I started, and so it's okay if you feel like you can't quite figure out exactly what your why is, or you're not like for sure about it. But I think it's great if you guys wanted to share your whys on the group page. We'd love to read them and see like why you're coming to LuLaRoe. And a really good way that I've heard it phrased is that your why is your belief and why you get up in the morning. So maybe think about that while you're thinking about your why, and feel free to share it. Next week I'm super excited. Lauren Pierce is going to be sharing, and she is a trainer on my team. I love her. You maybe have seen her online shop. She does some cute videos. She's super photogenic, so we'd love to hate her for that. And then Heather Rantham is going to be on it, and she is another North Carolina girl that's trainer heading right on up there, and so we're super excited to hear from her. And she, I'm pretty sure, has only ever done online, so I'm excited to hear her story. and just for you guys to get to meet some more of the leaders and hear from them and their ideas. So if you guys have questions, feel free to post them into the group page. And if they're questions that we cannot answer, we probably won't even push them through. But if it's a question that we can help you with, or that your sponsor maybe can't help you with, feel free to post it. So thanks for being here, and so we'll see you next Wednesday night. Okay, bye.